Hi guys, Rachel here. How is everyone? I thought I would do an August wrap up, and I can't really remember what I did. I didn't take any notes. I sort of looked through my planner to see if there were any highlights, but as many of you know, I've been having some health struggles, so I probably didn't do very much. So I don't know really if I have a lot to show you as far as decks are concerned and stuff, because I think for the most part I used the same decks that I used in July. I have a couple to show you that I got recently, and many of you were probably here last night for the live that I did with Honey Lou, so I'm not going to be really showing things that I acquired in August, but I'll show a couple of things just for funsies. So let's see where to begin. So beginning of August, like I said, I can't really remember much of any highlights. It was a very difficult summer for me. I think around August 8th or 9th, that's when I was admitted into the hospital. And I want to say it was a couple of days after that, I woke up that morning. I had plans to go to the Fusion Festival in Salem at the House of the Seven Gables, and I was horribly nervous because it was something that we really wanted to attend. We went last year as well, and I just didn't know, like, the state that I had been in, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but I was able to do it. And the Fusion Festival is just wonderful. It's a celebration of, what is it called? The Gables Settlement Association. I think it was founded in the early 1900s. It was to aid new immigrants in the country, and it helped them become citizens of the United States. And the program is still in place. There's an English language program as well as a citizen preparation class, and I'll say it was fun. One of the hosts, he was quizzing all of us. We were asked the same questions you would be asked on the test you have to take to be granted citizenship, and so many of us, myself included, we didn't know the answers. It merited a lot of laughs. So it was a lot of fun. There was Haitian dancing, and there was music, Latin music, and there was Cuban salsa dancers. So much fun, and we had amazing food. So just a blast. And I will share a couple of things that I got just because I was there on the grounds. If you haven't been to the Gables, please do so. It's one of my favorite places in Salem. When you're there, you just feel like you're in another century. It's so beautiful. The gardens are gorgeous. And anyway, I got a couple of little things in the gift shop, like this scarlet letter hat, because Nathaniel Hawthorne, or as we like to call him in this house, Nathaniel Hawthorne. But I think I did show this in the live, but I'm just in love with it. I think it's just the cutest idea, the scarlet letter. And I got this little clothespin doll. She can be used as an ornament. I absolutely love her. Love the 18th century. She's got this little teapot. And yeah, she's one of like these old-fashioned clothespins. And I did mention it in the live, but yeah, my grandmother, she taught me how to make clothespins dolls, because she had a lot of the old-fashioned ones around the house. And I had this little tin box filled with my clothespin dolls that I made. Now, I didn't make mine with cloth. I used paper for the clothing, but I had so much fun creating all these little different characters with their outfits. Just hours of fun. I kind of want to do that again. So yeah, that was the Fusion Fest, and I can't remember if we went to the beach later on or the Willows. I think we did. I think we maybe played some skee ball and stuff. And then I was really disappointed the next morning to discover that I was in horrible shape again all day. And so I was just lying on the floor all day until nighttime, when for whatever reason I start to feel a little bit better. And I'm like, why did I do okay yesterday for the Fusion Festival? You know, it couldn't have just been distraction. And days and days went on like that. And I finally had figured it out that what happened was, because I had to get to the Fusion Festival, I had set an alarm so that I could just be up earlier. Like, we like to get to the event early. And right as I got up that morning, I didn't mess around. I took painkillers, like first thing after eating something. And so that's really what it was. I figured out that I have to stay ahead of the pain and able to function. So that means taking ibuprofen and then Tylenol, piggybacking it all day long, like every 4 hours on the clock. Otherwise, I'm just going to be crumpled up on the floor. But at the time, I didn't know that. I was like, and I mean, that's not an answer. Like, I don't want to be taking painkillers around the clock every day. That's not good for you. But that's why I was able to do that. So I can't really remember if there was anything else that went on. Nothing, honestly, nothing exciting. We went to the jazz festival. I think it was maybe the week following the Fusion Festival, and the jazz festival is at the Willows, also in Salem. And I did talk about this in my health update. I was so sad because, again, I was able to attend. I mean, I wasn't 100% free of pain, but I was able to function. And at this point, I was on the hormone therapy. So it was helping, but the whole time that I was there at the Willows for the festival, I just wanted to be home. And that was really sad for me because I had been home so much and I was so excited to be able to get my family out of the house. And I love being by the sea and I love the music and I just wanted to be at home. I did my best. I held out. One of Eleanor's friends actually was on his way to meet us at my friend's little condo on the beach, and so I didn't want her to miss out on that. But honestly, the whole time, like, I just wanted to be at home, and that's not like me. I tried to play skee ball and I was suffering cognitive issues. Even I couldn't even get the ball to like roll up, the ramp or whatever you call it. And I remember sadly just kind of walking along the beach during the sunset, all sad. But my daughter and her friend, they got a bunch of tickets and they had extras. And I'm like, if you don't know what to spend it on, I'll take another dinosaur. So I got like a little plastic dinosaur that I like to put in my purses for some reason. I don't know. I like dinosaurs. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really glad that I was able to do it. I caught up with a couple of friends. My daughter had a great time. But yeah, I wasn't myself, and I was nervous because, Honey Lou was due to be coming into town very soon. So I just didn't know how I was going to be feeling. But like I said, at this point, I was taking, the hormone therapy, and it was really starting to work. So by the time Honey Lou arrived, I was in excellent shape, actually. Probably even better shape than I am now because I was just so excited. I was like on a high, So she arrived in Salem, like, I think it was the 22nd maybe. And so finally she arrived and she told us she was in this shop, and we couldn't enter the shop because it's one of those little shops where they can only allow so many people in at a time. So my daughter and my boyfriend and I were just like waiting outside of the shop to be admitted in, and Honey Lou knew we were out there. And then anyway, all of a sudden she comes out the door, and like, of course I knew it was her right off the bat. It was just so exciting to see her in person. It was like meeting Santa Claus, but better. I was like, oh my God, I'm like, you're so cute and beautiful, oh my God. And like we hugged, and it was just so much fun. And I met her sister and her friend Dan, and that was cool because I was thinking, like, how does she have a friend, here? And it was someone that used to live in Alaska where she lives. So, and he lives in Quincy. So we're like, oh, that's really cool. And like the whole day, like Mark and Dan were besties and they entertained each other all day, like while we were running in and out of the shops. And like we all had so much fun. And it was just so natural. Like my daughter, she was glued to her, like right off the bat. It was like Honey Lou was my sister or something. Like that was Eleanor's reception of her. It's like the same relationship Eleonora has with her aunt. She had that with Honey Lou, and she was like right off the bat, she's like, I'm going to make you a hat. I want to crochet you a hat. And I told her, I'm like, oh, like that's a really good idea, but are you sure that you're going to be able to finish that? Like, why don't you just work on it and I can mail it to her? Because I didn't want to put a lot of pressure on her to get it finished. But she's like, I know that I can do it. Like, I know I can finish it. And she did. But maybe I'll get to that later. And I know Honey Lou did show it in the live. So yeah, the first day was just a blast. We were just, I don't know, running around. We had dinner at our favorite Thai place. And oh my God, so many laughs. I won't really talk about what we were laughing about because it's kind of silly, but oh my gosh, so much fun. Yeah, I felt like we were just there with family. We all just had such a wonderful time. And then we went home like around 9 p.m. And then the next day we headed back to Salem in the morning. And we packed our bags because I had decided that it would be fun to book a room at the Hawthorne while Honey Lou was here, just because it would be easier, you know, just be easier and more fun to just be in town, even though we're not that far away. And we like staying in the Hawthorne. So that's what we did. We met up with Honey Lou and we went to the museum. And I took them to the Chinese house, and the Chinese house is currently undergoing some renovations, not like renovations like changing things, but just preservation work. You know, of course you need to maintain these old buildings from time to time. But regardless of that, she and her sister really enjoyed the experience. Always a good time at the Chinese house. And I can't remember exactly what else we did, but I think that might have been the night that we were hit with this amazing rainstorm, and it was one of my favorite memories of the trip because I love the rain. And I think I mentioned that in the live, that it was raining so hard we actually ran into a shop and bought umbrellas. And I impulsively bought a deck because I thought it would be really cool to buy a deck in the middle of a rainstorm. And it was the Divine Light Oracle cards, which had been on my list. Sort of regretted being a little impulsive only because the next day I saw the Black Moon astrology cards. I think that's what they're called. And I was like, oh, I kind of wanted that first, but whatever. That's what happens when you're running around like with friends shopping. It's just, you know, like an adrenaline boost or something. Whatever. So the rainstorm was really fun, and Honey Lou was trying to hit these shops that she had heard about before they closed. And so we rushed out of Moon's and we ran past my boyfriend. I remember he was like in this little alcove, like this little brick alcove, and it was raining so hard he couldn't even hear me. I couldn't even explain why we were just running past him and up the street. So when we finally arrived in the store that Honey Lou wanted to hit, which was House Witch, I texted him. I'm like, hey, just stay put. We're gonna be right back. We're just in this shop that Honey Lou wanted to check out. I'm like, don't try to find us. We'll be right back. And he's like, oh, I'm very happy, actually. He's like, I'm really happy in my little alcove. The bricks are so nice and warm. Like he's a little lizard. So anyway, after that, she's like, I want to get to Hive and Forge before it closes, because she decided she wanted to get the spirit cats, I think. And we made it like 10 minutes before it closed. But anyway, it was so much fun running around in the rain. Salem in the summertime in the rain is my favorite thing. I've been lucky enough to have been there many times in the summer during a rainstorm, and it's just, I like it. I like the overcast and I like the balminess, and it's exciting for me. So that was fun to experience that with a friend. And the coolest part was that after all of that, I was like, okay, do you guys want me to take you around to see some pretty things, like some historic sites, you know, because the shops are closed. So I took them to the Ropes Mansion Gardens, and oh my gosh, like I had never been in the garden there, I don't think, when everything had been in bloom to that extent. Like, even Mark mentioned it. He's like, Rachel, we're here all the time, and I don't think I've ever seen so many flowers. And I'm like, it's probably because so many times we're here, I'll be like, do you guys want to like go to the garden? And you're like, nah, like we just did that, you know? So for whatever reason, I don't think I'd ever actually been in there late August, but it was so beautiful. And to top it off, it had just rained, so everything was glistening. It was like the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy steps out and everything's in color. You know what I mean? It was so cool. So we had a wonderful time, and I'm sure I'm going to be inserting some photos of the, I'm sure I'm going to be inserting some photos of the garden and everything. And we took some pictures together, and then we just kind of like walked around, you know, the beautiful neighborhood, like Chestnut Street and all of that. And it was a lot of fun. And then we suggested that Honey Lou and her sister come and have dinner with us at the Hawthorne Hotel, at the tavern there, because it's just a cozy place to have dinner. And we all really loved it and had fun catching up. So the next day, I can't remember exactly what we did. Oh, I think we went to, you know, Pickering Wharf, and we shopped around, and I was really excited that my friend Emily, who lives there in town, she was busy the previous day, but she was free. So she was able to meet up with us because she really wanted to meet my friend. And yeah, we love Emily. So she tagged along with us while we were shopping in Pickering Wharf. And yeah, I was good. I don't think I really bought anything when we were down that way. And then Honey Lou and her sister had a broom making class, which she talked about in the live. So they went and did that, and we just, yeah, I think we just went over and hung out at Emily's place, which was fun. And then it ended up that there was a wine tasting event that day. And Emily and our friend Terry were going to go to the wine tasting event, and Mark's like, well, I want to go. And I'm like, sure, I want to go. And Eleonora was like, I'm fine just staying here with Willow. Willow is Emily's cat, you know. So we're like, okay, you know, and the wine tasting event is right next door. So we went over to the wine tasting event, and I already talked about leaving the wine tasting event in the middle of it to go buy a stupid Labubu for my daughter. So I'm not going to go over all of that again, but that was a really, really funny story. And we had many laughs over that. And then we ended up having dinner at Turner's right across the street. I actually hadn't been in there in a while, and that was a lot of fun, and probably ended up home around 10. So the next day, Eleonora started school, first day of high school. So she went off to school, and we got some work done. And then kind of an impromptu decision, but I decided that we would pop back into Salem, like after school pickup time, you know. And I knew that it would be sort of semi-rush hour traffic, but I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm sure I'll be able to get a place to park and stuff. So that's what we did. And it was Eleanor's idea because she really wanted to finish up the hat and give it to Honey Lou. And I was just, honestly, I had been feeling so happy and so good. And I was so happy because I've been feeling so good, like physically. Like, you have no idea how sick I've been. Like, I've had no life at all, no life. And I was feeling so good. I was like on a high. Like I said, I've been running around Salem. I was drinking coffee. Like, I hadn't had coffee in weeks because that aggravates the endometriosis, like big time. But I was drinking coffee because I woke up in the hotel with a headache, you know, and it felt like medicine. And I was running around, I was like drinking wine, and I was like literally like running around and just having fun with Honey Lou and Mark and Dan and Emily, and oh my gosh, so much fun. So when Eleonora suggested let's go back into town, I was happy even to be driving, like even to be driving in rush hour traffic, because when I'm sick, I can't drive. I can't drive. It's a problem. I can't read, I can't drive. You know. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And yeah, Eleanor was finishing up the hat. We went over to the wine place and bought Emily a bottle of wine, and we went over to her place and we were hanging out. And then I met up with Honey Lou and Dan, who would come back into town, and we went into the comic book store and we were just looking around, and then we just kind of like walked around the block, just having wonderful conversations, went back to Emily's, and just had some laughs. Eleonora gave Honey Lou the hat, and then it was time for like Honey Lou to go back to her hotel so that she could pack and stuff, because they were leaving the next day. So we stuck around because Emily really wanted Mark and I to attend the open mic comedy night at Hallowed Ground. We had done that on my birthday as well. So we did that, and we had like 50-cent wings at the bar, and it was fun. And like, I remember Honey Lou was like texting me the whole time, and I told her at one point, I'm like, I'm gonna come meet you outside your hotel. So like I ran off for a little bit, and like we were just talking outside of her hotel, and that's when we got the idea to do the live, to unbox some of the fun things that we bought. It was her idea. I had suggested, why don't we FaceTime when you get back and we can show each other things, because my sister and I always enjoy doing that when she comes to visit, and we shop, and we'll just sit on my bed and like look at all the stuff we bought. She's like, oh, we can do that, but why don't we make it a live? I'm like, that could be fun. So yeah, anyway, the comedy event was nice. I went back, and yeah, I remember the end of the night, Emily was just, yeah, she was like so excited too. She was like hugging all of us, and she's like, I'm so happy. And I'm like, so am I. Just being so sick for such a long time. And I'm like the type of person who's very happy to be at home. I wasn't like that when I was younger. I had this constant anxiety, like to always be constantly distracted. I had to be out. I had to be with friends, or I had to be doing something. It was a way to, I guess, assuage the anxiety that I had, like the existential dread or whatever it was. I'm not really like that anymore. But having been so sick and cooped up for such a long time, to not only be out and doing things in nature and in museums and stuff, but also to be socializing with people was so wonderful. So I can't remember if there's anything else that we did that I forgot to talk about, but that was really the highlight of August. I was so happy, just so happy, and it was so wonderful to meet Honey Lou. It was so wonderful to meet a tarot tube friend, and I'm hoping she can come back again. I know she wants to at some point. So I will just show a couple of the things that I got that I mentioned in the live. Honey Lou got me the witch cats, and I'll show a few cards. This is actually my first time opening the box, because yeah, after she went home and everything, I was busy. So I actually left most of the things that I got when she was here in the bags. So this had been on my list for a really long time. I had the spirit cats already, but I didn't have the witch cats. And the spirit cats was a deck that I enjoyed using during times when I was confined to bed, because I mean, need I say anything at all? I mean, it's such a cozy, cute little hug deck, and it reminds me very much of picture book art, which I always enjoyed looking through golden books and things when I'm not feeling well. Just the pictures. I don't even have to read the story. It's just all about getting lost in a world. There's something so immersive about the older illustrated children's books, you know? Oh, look at this. This is so darling. I'm so happy to finally have this. I don't know why it took me so long to get it. Probably because I was like, well, I don't need it, but oh. So yeah, Honey Lou was like, I want to get you something. I want to get you something. And she saw me looking at decks there, and she's like, just, you know, get something. So thank you, Honey Lou. I love it even more because it was a gift from a friend. Oh. Yeah, look at this. I think those are raindrops or something. That's so beautiful. It's a really cute deck, but it's also really beautiful too. The use of color and everything. I just love it. I love the spirit cats too. And the other one that I'll show you was the Celestial Oracle. So the only other broccoli deck that I own is the seashell one. And Honey Lou was looking at all the broccoli decks when we were in House Switch, as she was showing. And these are the backs. And I was like, you know, I think I'm digging the Celestial. This could be fun, like a fun companion to some of like the mythology decks and stuff, you know, because yeah, planets, everything makes sense. So this is, yeah, this is my first time really taking a look at this one as well. Really beautiful. Look at that. Rainbow, so pretty. Yeah, these are beautiful collage decks. Well, I'll show you this. This is one of the things that my daughter got in Witch City Wicks, and I think I kind of showed it on the live, but I only showed a couple, and they're really cute, right? Yeah, this is like another picture book sort of deck, and these are and these have the, you know, the meanings on the back. It's so cute. Oh. Yeah, Witch City Wicks was fun too, because not only did the candles and stuff smell really good, they have, yeah, they have like decks in there, and they have art prints and stuff. So they were really nice in there too. I got compliments on my outfit and my Gengar and stuff that was in my purse, and they were really nice. So as far as decks are concerned, like for August, I really can't remember. This is sitting right here. It's the Softest Shade Oracle by Rose Bay. So I've been pairing this a lot lately with the Thoth Nebula deck by Nova Mundi. And it's a really great pairing, even though like these cards are absolutely gigantic and the nebula is so tiny. But I love this deck, and the little quotes and things that she has on here and the keywords, they're just like, I don't know, they're just so provocative or something. They just, it's a contemplative sort of deck for me, and it's usually quite spot on. And I love the colors. Like I love that it's so purple, you know. Look at that, that's so cute. Where she finds these things for collage. I have like a giant stack of magazines and things that I've collected, and some of these things I've even purchased from eBay, like, you know, when I can find deals, because I had set my mind to this task. I thought I was going to collage and combine it with some of my drawings that I do, and, you know, make a sort of hybrid deck for fun. But of course I kept getting sidetracked because I keep getting sick, and then when I'm sick I'm behind on absolutely everything, so it hasn't happened. But one of my problems is I really struggle with cutting things up. Even when they're magazines, there's a part of me that wants to keep it all nice because I'm like, oh, this could be donated to a museum one day, you know? So sometimes if I find something I really want to use, I'll try to find a backup to buy so I feel I can cut one up and keep the other. I do have a box of things that I already did cut out with an X-Acto knife to be used later, like having a box of stickers, you know. But I had to really like discipline myself, or rather sort of undiscipline myself to convince myself it was okay to cut some of these things up. But yeah, I really love this deck. So that's been fun. I've also been using the Thoth Mini, the latest printing, and I talked about these in the live, but I didn't think I wanted a mini because I always thought that the standard size Thoth was honestly like a mini. If you look at that deck, it's smaller than your standard size tarot deck, and because of the borders, if you were to trim it, the standard size is honestly the size of a standard mini. I was like, I don't think I want the Thoth to be any smaller than it is because I really prefer it larger. But I don't know, Honey Lou was telling me like she's obsessed with it, and she's like, I really think you need it in your life. And you know what? She's right. It's so much fun to put in my purse, and I'm really digging it. And I really like the new printing, even though it's not as vibrant as the previous US games. I just think it's so soft and elegant. I really love it. It's so warm. So anyway, I'm really enjoying that. What is it? I'm recording, honey.
I know. My jeans that James is wearing.
I don't know, honey. You can look on my bed, okay?
In the basket.
Just on my bed. I think there's a couple of pairs of jeans I just took down that were dry, okay? Okay. Sorry, it's my daughter. She's getting ready for school tomorrow. Really quick, let's see. Candy's reading challenge. So I have mentioned, I think, in a couple of different videos that I'm quite behind because I've been so ill. So for example, May's book I'm still working on because it's the complete works of Montaigne, and it's gigantic. It's a tome, and being so sick, I knew I wasn't going to finish that in May. And June, was that May's book? Or no, that wasn't May. That was June, I think. That was Juicy June, sorry. July's book I'm still working on. And but I did finish August. August was the Uncanny August or something like that. Like read, you know, an uncanny book or something unsettling. So I read The Prestige by Christopher Priest. And I had mixed feelings about it only because I found my interest in the book waxing and waning. Because I really honestly think it's because I know the film so well. You know, like the Christopher Nolan film from the early 2000s. I love that movie. And I think the general consensus is that people prefer the film. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. Like, his films are works of art. There were quite a few differences in the book. If you don't know what it is, I'll just read the back really quick. In 1878, two young stage magicians clash in the dark during the course of a fraudulent seance. From this moment on, their lives become webs of deceit and revelation as they vie to outwit and expose one another. So yeah, right off the bat, the reason for the split between the magicians differs from the film. There was no seance at all in the film version, but I won't get into the differences here. Overall, it was a really engaging story, and it's in epistolary style. So it's, for the most part, it's all journal entries that both magicians were writing at the time. And there's two contemporary characters, descendants of these magicians, who are reading the journals. And those characters aren't in the film version, so that was interesting. But yeah, this is all about like obsession, and ignoring the signs it's time to move on and forgive and come to an agreement. And like once you sort of get past that point, there's no going back, and obsession turns to just ruin ruin and decay. So it's, yeah, it's a really fun read. Very supernatural, and yeah, if you like the film, there's some differences, but the book is really good too. I'm not really sure if I like the film more or the book. I probably the movie, only because I know it so well. We watched it a couple of times last year for Gothlit November. We thought it was fun. I'm so stuck on it, but this was really good too. This was really good, and honestly, really, really creepy. It was pretty creepy, especially near the end. So that was fun. And then the book that I did not finish yet for July is Erotic Vagrancy, Everything About Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor by Roger Lewis. And I already sort of vented about this book previously, and I'll reiterate a little bit of that here. I am almost finished with it now. I have this one annoying principle. I'm going to start a book, I'm going to finish it. And especially because it's about Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, like, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. A lot of you already know that I'm like a big Richard Burton fan, but I'm also a Elizabeth Taylor fan. Hang on one second, actually. So this is one of my favorite things. It's Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra. And I have two of these dolls. So the other doll that I have, she's out of the box. She was the doll that I owned as a teenager. And even though I was like, I don't know, 17 or 18 or something like that, I still wanted to take my dolls out of the boxes and did weird things with them. So then I went and bought one that's in pristine condition. I love her. I mean, look at her. I don't know if we can get away from the glare, but she looks, oh my God, she looks just like her. Anyway, so this is not intended to be a traditional biography. I think I mentioned this before, he kind of comes off as sort of like a critic, a comical critic rather than a biographer. And that's fine. That's refreshing. I don't believe in anything being canceled. I don't think this book should be canceled, but I have been offended so many times. Like, I've never been so offended while reading a biography or really any sort of nonfiction work. It's the way that he talks about Elizabeth Taylor. Like, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I mean, we know, like, when you're a child star and you have all that money to buy all those diamonds and stuff, like, yeah, you're not going to be perfect and you're going to be a bit of a diva, right? And we know about the whole Eddie Fisher thing and all of that. Like, we know, okay? But I don't think she was heartless, and I don't think that she was somebody who just faked illnesses to manipulate people. Like, I know people like that, okay, dudes, like, I know that exists. But I just found it so offensive the way that he would make fun of the way that she grieved for people, like Princess Diana, because she said something like, I also know what it's like to be hounded by the press. Like, just because somebody says that they can relate, it doesn't mean that they're trying to turn the situation into them. You know, like, I do know there are people who do that will turn any crisis into something about them. But I mean, she was a Pisces, and Pisces, they're so intense and they're so emotional. Like, they feel what you're feeling. And she was always a fan of, you know, the underdog and trying to like build people up. But what was most offensive to me was that he sunk so low as to make fun of her for being a diva and missing out on work when she had her period. Like, he would blame like the halting of production on Miss Taylor's periods because she refused to work. And it was just the way that he would say it. Like, I have enemies. Like, I have female enemies. They exist. And yet I would never, ever ever make fun of what any woman goes through during their cycle. Like, with some of these women, it's very hard for me to find sympathy, but not when it comes to a woman having her period. There's just this understanding. Or just with anybody, men and women, like, there's certain things that people go through that you still feel some sympathy for, like some compassion for, some empathy for. He made fun of her for being absent during either a crisis or the production of something. He's quoted as saying something like, Miss Taylor was busy howling about the end of her womanhood while she was having a hysterectomy. And I'm like, dude, okay, no, you do not have a hysterectomy for fun or to get attention. Like, how dare you? Like, how clueless can you be? And he also repeatedly talks about Elizabeth losing her looks when she gained weight. I'm like, he's really coming off like as being extremely misogynistic to me. He doesn't speak of all of the women in that vein in the book, but I think maybe it's because Elizabeth was so feminine. I don't really know what it is, but I really don't think he liked her at all. So it's like, why didn't you just write a book on Richard Burton? I would have been a lot less disappointed in you. Yeah, I just find that so offensive. Just so offensive. And I mean, there were things that Richard Burton did that would make you raise your brow as well. And it's totally okay when you're writing a biography to talk about some of the things that you don't want to hear about the people that you admire, right? But when he handles the things that Richard did, he handles it in an unbiased, traditional sort of biographical form, which is fine. That's fine. Like, for example, Richard very may well have been responsible for the death of his older brother. We're not sure, no one's sure, no one witnessed it, but they were fighting during some funeral or something, and they were both heavy drinkers, and they had a history of getting into physical altercations together. And all we know is that his brother hit his head, and like 4 years later, he like succumbed to his injuries and died. Now, that doesn't mean that Richard was a monster. It was a horrible mistake. However, the author, he just handled it, like I said, like in a very unbiased, traditional biographical form. Yet, he like craps all over Elizabeth Taylor for having her period, you know, and for being late to events, you know, because she's chronically ill. It's just not fair. It's so weird and it's so uneven. It's like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I was so offended. I'm so offended. I mean, I love Elizabeth, but even if I didn't love Elizabeth, I would be so offended. But I'm gonna finish it because I find them fascinating. And I want to read his book on Laurence Olivier. I'm not sure if I'll read the one on Peter Sellers or not. Love Peter Sellers too. I think he's really famous for that one. Peter Sellers was a weird dude. But he's also not very credible. Like, he was talking about a lot of these films, some of the early Richard Burton films, for example, as being horrendously bad. And he makes them sound really bad. But then later on in the book, when he talked about Lawrence of Arabia being a bad movie, and he basically made fun of everybody in the cast, aside from Claude Rains. Claude Rains was the only one he didn't make fun of for, which I love Claude Rains. I get it, but Peter O'Toole is one of my idols. So I was like, no. And I'm sorry, I love Cleopatra, but Cleopatra was not a better movie than Lawrence of Arabia. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna see some of those films he was saying was so bad, because I guess he's not very credible. It's a very subjective thing. I've ranted on about this enough. I'm almost finished with this now. Anyway, what else did I want to talk about? I think that's really all that I can remember for August. And I hope to be back. I hope to be back soon with other videos, maybe some tags, book and tarot related. I didn't go over any of the movies that we watched in August because I didn't want this video to be too long. It's already a little bit longer than I expected it to be. I went on about this a little bit too much. But as always, like, I'm never sure exactly what's going to be going on, like, health-wise and stuff. So I do have an appointment on September 17th, and we'll see. So I'm almost out of the prescription that they gave me, and it's a non-refillable one. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna call to ask if I can get a refill, because I don't know. I'm weird about it. I'm feeling weird about it. It's like, I think maybe they meant for me to just use it for 30 days as an experiment. But anyway, I'm just trying to say, I don't know how I'm gonna be feeling when I don't have it anymore. Maybe I should call. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm hoping to be back soon, and I was so excited to come on the live last night and be feeling well enough to do it, and the next day be able to sit here for almost an hour and film something for you all. And I'm slowly catching up with videos. So right now I'm feeling really wonderful, and I had a great August, and yeah, I'll be back with more soon, hopefully. So if you're still watching, thank you for being here. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.